Alright guys, welcome back to the FingerCramp Ultimate Marvel Vs Capcom 3 Babies Guide. Now before we move on, I'd like you guys to brush up on your frame data. So go check out the previous guide that we did before we move on. Give you guys a couple of seconds by the way. Alright, moving on to combos and chains, let's begin. Alright guys, now being that our topic of the day is combos, I'm going to go ahead and define that for you and then tell you what a combo is. Now a combo is a sequence of attacks that creates a series of hits which is guaranteed due to Hitstun, as we discussed before. Now, moving on to what makes up combos, we have chains and links. Now chain is a series of attacks which combo into each other following a hierarchy: light, medium, heavy, and S, which is your launcher, of course. You can never go from S to light, but you can always go from light to S in that order. Now, links don't generally apply to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to explain this to you anyway. Again, now I have my character over here with his 3-frame jab, and I have a 5-frame medium punch. This 3-frame jab grants me +5 on hit, giving me a 1-frame window to connect my medium punch. Now, what this means is the difference between links and chains, besides one being easy and one being hard, is that chains can be canceled as soon as the move becomes active and makes contact with the opponent, whereas links, you must wait for your attack to recover before linking into your next move. If you guys want to mess around with links some more, you can go into training mode with Spencer, do his forward H command and try to link it into his armor piercer, which is quarter circle forward S. You'll almost find that you'll never be able to chain it because it's impossible because it's a link. And that should help you better understand the difference between a link and a chain. Alright guys, we're still on the topic of combos now, but I want you to understand what affects your combos. That would be hit decay and your best friend damage scaling. You're not gonna like him too much. Now, hit decay was a system built into Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to avoid infinites. Now, infinites are combos that go on until you die. Nobody wants to watch a 99-second combo, so Capcom thought it would be more fun to limit your usage of infinites, all right? So, Hitstun decay, the way that works is the game has a built-in system that tells itself, hey, this guy's doing too many hits. I'm gonna close down the window of opportunity he has to hit his opponent. And soon and eventually it will become impossible to hit your opponent after a certain amount of hits. As for damage scaling was a system built into Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 so your combos wouldn't be overpowered. How do they do this? It's based on a dwindling percentage that happens after every single hit when you're chaining your attacks together. Now, don't worry, there are still death combos. Please watch this vid. Since we're still on the subject of combos, let's have a little fun here. Let's discuss the tools you'll be utilizing to extend your combos if hit decay didn't get to you. Ooh. Now, ground bounce and wall bounce, brother and sister of course. A ground bounce is a state where a character is violently slammed into the ground, and depending on the height, a combo can be continued. Now, as for ground bounce's sister, wall bounce, same thing. You're violently slammed into the wall, and depending on the height, you could continue the combo, or your opponent continue the combo on you. Sigh. Now, let's discuss the states in which your character or your opponent ends up after a combo, which is soft knockdown and hard knockdown. Soft knockdown is a state where your character hits the ground and is able to tech immediately left, right, or neutral. As for hard knockdown, that doesn't happen exactly the same. Your character hits the ground for a delayed amount of time and can be OTG'd by an OTG capable move such as this one and this one. Now, what OTG means in the fighting game community is a move that is able to pick your opponent off the ground where you could continue a combo or even go for a reset. Here's a pro tip I want you guys to remember. Everybody in Ultimate Marvel Vs. Capcom 3 has an OTG.
What is a hit confirm?
A hit confirm is when a player visually sees their opponent not block one of their attacks during a string, a chain, etc., and they continue their combo based on that decision. Now, you may ask me, why does that even matter? Why does it matter? Because some attacks are safer than others. Take for instance here, Dormammu. If Dormammu starts his combo with an L and he goes to a string and notices that his opponent is blocking, he may stop the string and say, I'm not gonna go for that. Why? Because my S is unsafe. Now let's take a look at what happens when Dormammu actually does complete the string and goes all the way to S. He gets punished.
What is an aerial exchange?
An aerial exchange tag is only capable after you've launched your opponent into the air and you've pressed one of the various directions and exchange. Now what happens here is you will tag in your secondary character, and it's an easy way to extend damage, especially for you newcomers who are not used to doing million damage crazy combos with just one character on point. So I'd actually like to show you an example of what an aerial exchange tag is. So take a look here.
Why do my air combos drop?
We've compiled a list of 5 things we normally see new players go through that give them a lot of trouble and why their air combos drop, of course. Number 1 thing being air trajectory. We see a lot of new players launch their opponents and they lose trajectory of your opponents. You generally want to hold up forward towards your opponent after launching them so you can trace the proper trajectory to continue comboing them so that your attacks will link. Number 2, try taking some of the light attacks out of your air chains. Why? Because hit decay will follow you in the air. Number 3, work backwards. Try an S, then try HS, then try medium HS, and then try to sneak in another medium. Don't deal with the lights because, as I said, hit decay will follow you up there. Number 4, calm down, guys. I see a lot of new players get antsy after they've launched their opponent. They lose trajectory. They lose the buttons that they're supposed to press when taken to the skies with their opponent, and they lose control of the combo altogether. And number 5, practice. It doesn't come easy, guys. It doesn't take a lot of hard work, but it takes diligence. And with diligence, you can be just like me also.
How do I create a combo?
Well, luckily for you, Capcom was generous enough to give us tons of freedom when it comes to combos in this game. So your only enemy you have to worry about is your own creativity. What I would do is start off with simple chains such as low, medium, heavy, into launcher, into medium, medium, heavy, knockdown, super. And then after I've mastered that, I would explore other options such as wall bounce and ground bounce to extend my combos. Now remember, you only get one of each in a combo. Now, what I really want you guys to take into consideration and remember is that a lot of new players see these YouTube vids or maybe even these tournament players and they watch them do these overextended combos and they try it themselves, but they have not yet mastered the basics. Take baby steps, guys. Master the combos you're doing. Make sure you can do it under pressure during a match before you move on. And maybe even one day you can do a combo like me.
What is the reset?
A reset is where you opt to end a combo early so that you put your opponent in a disadvantageous situation where he has to guess your offense. Always a 50-50. Left, right, high, low. Actually, there are more options. We'll get into that later. The real question is, why the reset? A reset is normally done based on a player's decision to keep meter around or because of damage scaling. The best example I could give you of that is, let's pretend I'm a Wesker player versus Hulk. And I'm doing a 600k bread and butter, but it's not getting me anywhere because Hulk has over 1 million health and he's still alive. So I can choose to super him at the end of my combo or reset him, reset the damage, and do 500k on top of 600k, killing the Hulk. But I do want you guys to remember this. Resets are risky. Why? Because they can be escaped. So always keep that in mind when going for one. All right, guys, thanks for watching FingerCramp's Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Baby's Guide. We are done with combos and chains, but please tune in next week for part 4, Weapon of Choice, where we'll be discussing pads versus arcade sticks. If you have any further questions, please leave it at our Twitter. We are going to reply, a video reply that is, to all your questions. We're just getting enough questions so that we can compile them in one big video and answer all of them. Don't forget to also like us on Facebook. Until next week, guys, enjoy the vids.